to our beautiful Facebook spotlights that we are doing for our speaker today to share with you what we're doing there and how these speaking skills actually come into play, especially if you have a personal or professional desire to up level. So these speaking skills kind of help you across the board. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is especially moving it forward as a speaker or in a business, boosting your business and having those skills. And then those relationships with other women who are wanting to up level as well, how this all sort of comes into play. So Lyndsey, thank you for being with us today. Lyndsey V, Lyndsey Van Sickle, but we call her Lyndsey V because that is so cool. And that's also her handle. So there you are. Nice to have you here.
I know, it's so fun. Hey, Connie. Hey, everybody.
We're just so glad to have you back because we love and adore you. And you always have great things to share. So we're going to jump right in. Can you share with us this journey that you have been on of finding your message and then wanting to be a speaker and share it more effectively? What kind of led you to wanting to up level your skills?
Yes. Well, it started with my Black book I made, and I didn't picture wanting to speak. It never crossed my mind. But as I was feeling the power of how much I'd let go of, and I'm like, do people even know this is possible? And then I connected with Connie. I felt compelled. It felt so much more powerful, in a little bit of a way. It was selfish because I started to feel so good as I started to open my mouth and to share. And I know a lot of you have probably felt something so good, you just want to share it. And then Connie, I just didn't know what to do. Like, everything was new to me. The things Connie told me, I was like, okay, it seems like that would work, but I didn't know. So the journey, luckily, I didn't have to figure it all out on my own. I mean, how many years have you been speaking? 30, 35? Like, right. And so she says these tips and these things. And as I started to put them in to play, the confidence started to build because they were working. And so it just made the journey a lot more smooth doing it that way.
I love when I first got that call from her, it was her mom was like, you should probably talk to Connie because she had this book, right? And then it wasn't even on your radar thinking that way, which was so funny to me. And then as we got talking, you were kind of like, oh my gosh, this is something I hadn't really considered that could be a vehicle to move it forward. So as we scooch on into, you started learning these skills, what were some of the unexpectedly hard things about speaking and sharing your message more effectively? What were some of the hard parts of that?
I mean, so much of it, like a lot of us, is the mindset. I didn't know what to think. And so I created a lot in my head of, the biggest thing is I thought I had to do and be somebody, some person, like to bring all of this stuff about and this dream about. And I really got in my head about a lot of it. I spent a lot of time, doubting and being scared. And I think that's a normal part of the journey. It really is. And I got to a point though, where I just thought, I'm waiting for something magical to happen, to feel like I suddenly belong, or to feel like legit enough, right? Like enough speaking jobs, or what even is legit. And I thought, I'm not going to feel like I belong until I just start to believe I belong. And right. And just start to own that. And I realized everything I've learned from Connie, I certified through Connie, the practice I keep doing, there's not some idea of these people out there that are just born with this. It was really just this huge wake up of like, just start speaking. I started on social media, just saying pieces of my keynote, just start going out there and doing it. And then I started to feel like I belonged because I decided to trust the process and to trust God, that He was the one that would make. I told Connie the other day, I was speaking for Presidio, and I'm like, I didn't have to make all this stuff come about that I thought I was in charge of, right? I realized, especially with realtors, they just need a space to be able to finally just be themselves, acknowledge all the pressure that's going on in so many different aspects and careers right now, to be there. And so we get to just show up. It's the biggest gift. We don't do it all like I thought.
It's so true. You're there to guide and navigate, and that's the expertise that you bring, is knowing how to create that environment to help them to want to connect and open up, and then teaching the tools and the principles that you have for them in a way that they can receive them, and then being able to enjoy that process where they come out of that experience, not just, oh, I listened, I left, but more of, oh my gosh, and I connected with this person, and oh, we had this experience, and having an experience together instead of it just being, I'm just checking the box and I've got to sit in here for this, my CE credits or whatever it might be. I love that.
Yes. What a relief, right? That's not
Yes.
even our job. We don't ever have to worry about that. That's an eternal principle with all of our lives. We just don't have to take all this on.
Yes.
Like God will make it. Of course, the preparation, everything I've learned from you and along the way, that of course that gives us the confidence to be able to go and the know-how, but we don't have to take it on and put it up on this pedestal, because it's all for him and for the results that we want people to feel and their inspiration for them.
And I love that you bring up, it gives you the freedom when you know tools, it gives you the freedom to let people have the unexpected or the magic happen. You're not trying to create this one outcome, right? It's like sometimes people think that when you learn speaking skills, you're going to try to manipulate the audience to have a certain outcome, and you're not. What you're doing is expertly guiding them so that they have their own light bulb moments and their epiphanies. And then they all go away with the learning that they need and that they were seeking, that there's no way you could know. So it really is creating that environment that's conducive to that, and then being able to give them an opportunity to share that light bulb moment, to connect with someone else with their light bulb moment. So now you've made friends and they're networking and all the things together, which is just, oh, you were just saying the other day, share that experience, because you texted me after you got done with Presidio and you were like, wasn't it Presidio? And you were like, is this how you feel when you were doing this and teaching people? So share what happened.
Yes, I was like, Connie, this must be a little bit of what you experienced with the retreats. You do all of these things, and then all of a sudden you show up and there's this just total support, and the women like bring all of this to it, and everything that you could never just force or make to happen, that for some reason I was like, this is my responsibility. Like, and it's taken me all these years to realize there's just such a guidance of God and energy and everyone that's there, and your preparation, that people really will get what you need. And it's not because of yes, it's our preparation, but it's not because of who we are or being something special, right?
Yes, it's just
I was like, Connie, you've been feeling this all along. I didn't even realize.
It was so sweet. Like, this feels so good. Joy. I'm like, I know.
It was
it's
so
addicting.
joyful. It was this purpose of, like, I love Disneyland, but it felt like Disneyland, but with this like deeper meaning. I'm not kidding. I know I just was like, wow, this was just so much bigger than all of us when we're willing to show up and we just do what we can and let ourselves be imperfect and just show up. It's just this meaning you cannot find. That's why I'm like, oh, I have a friend. You might want to speak because you might just love it.
Feeling, I promise. And have you noticed with that, and I've seen how you have developed this and you've been able to share about your Black book. She does shred writing so that you can get emotions out and do it in a healthy way. And I've seen how you've been able to talk to these different businesses and be able to share it even in that employee setting and in a professional setting for something that's, more of that emotional based kind of thing. Have you seen the speaking skills that you've learned help you in other ways, maybe with your family or in a religious setting or in other settings? Have you noticed that those skills of how to clarify your thoughts, how to get them across well, make it story driven, be able to organize those things, have you seen that happen at all?
Oh, yes. I never expected that it would just, following this speaking path has led me to where I didn't even know I wanted to go in my own life. It's because you can't fake it, right? It's this authentic journey. And so as I'm doing that, I'm realizing, wow, I want a marriage that feels more authentic. I want to show up for the people in my life better. And then I've realized, I have the tools to know how to do this, to know how to be confident, even just to be more independent, stand in that presence, to know how to speak more concisely, to say what I'm really feeling straightforward, to own my feelings more. A lot of this has come from things that we've learned and working on being a speaker.
It's so true. I noticed this myself. And like I said, for almost 30 years, right? But as I try to do better in certain areas or learn certain things, it just goes right into my communication with my kids, in other business settings. It's crazy how it all sort of comes together and is woven through everything that we do. Now, you talked about the Presidio, is there of an experience that you have or had that when you were doing a particular speaking tool or skill that you learned, that you were like, oh my gosh, I get this skill. I get the value of this skill. I understand why this works. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yes. If you're lucky enough to be around Connie enough, then you start to have your words will come up in my mind. And I'm like, yes, because it's like this little, yes. So one of them is everything I think about doing, like, should I post this on social media today? Should I reach out to this person? Should I work on my website or work on my keynote? I keep thinking, Connie's like, who are you serving? What are the pain points? Over and over, like, what are the pain points? And then what's your solution? And it's like my guiding, like, it just totally guides me. And I think that is the focus. That's why I'm doing this. And instead of going, like, getting distracted or going off the rails or spending my energy, I mean, who really has time to spend a bunch of energy to just guess on what people need? So it's saved me so many years just of knowing, focus exactly on what I'm solving for what's keeping them up at night. That's a huge one. What you've taught us about hooks, really grabbing people straight on, that's helped me so much with, I mean, keynote creation was a mystery before I met you, and that those points just keep coming to me. Doing things a B+, like done is better. Just doing it is better than not doing it. Like all of those things.
I love that so much. And you know what's funny is that this has helped me with Come Follow Me and scriptures. I don't know if this has helped you with your family, but maybe your family, your kids gather like Sound of Music in the Family Bond Trap, and they just want to hear every little thing and they're ready to share. And that is not always our experience.
That's us every morning.
So last night, I wanted to share, it was my turn. We take turns, and it was my turn to do the Come Follow Me. And I was talking about salt and what happens. And so we talked about salt. We talked about, instead of me just sitting down and reading a little piece from that, which, you know, maybe some of us are wont to do, especially how tired you might feel. I literally did it like a keynote, and I thought, okay, what is different about salt that they may not know? So we talked about salt, and back in the day in Jesus' time, how salt was actually worth a lot of money, and it was actually paid in money. In fact, the word salary comes from the word salarium, which comes from the word salt. So they were paid in salt. So even here the phrase, he's worth his salt. And even in Italy, they call it salty, salty. So this salt, the legionnaires would actually get paid in bags of salt, and they could use it as currency just as effectively as money. So we talked about some of those things. Again, things that we've learned in doing a keynote, finding an interest, a factoid, a stat, or a story, or something like that. And then I had just interviewed Jason Hewlett yesterday for the LDSPMA podcast, and he was talking about this unique skill set. If you know him, he's a global speaker, and he does sort of these Vegas style, family friendly entertainment / leadership /
oh my gosh,
song. He's amazing.
Oh,
some piano, some impersonations, I mean, it's like this show, but you're getting leadership principles. And so we talked about that. He knew from a young age that he could make people laugh, but he didn't know how he could utilize that. And he didn't understand until later he had this unique combo, the skill set, right? So sorry, I don't want to belabor this, but as I'm going on with my kids, I was thinking, that's a thing I want to share. That's a driver. That's a thing that they'll be interested in. And it'll be a good parable and application of what I'm trying to say, which is, if you can figure out what salt you have, this unique combination of talents and abilities, gifts and skills, you can create something cool that has a special savor. And now the Lord can use you in amazing ways. And then I shared some experiences about Jason. Oh my gosh, you're going to want to listen to that one when it drops. I'll let you know when that episode drops. You guys, it was so good. Anyway, the point being,
I'm looking for the link, Connie.
Oh,
I'm checking my email.
It's not a month, but I'll tell you what, when I got done with that, my 10-year-old said, that was amazing.
Oh,
when do you ever hear that about Come Follow Me? I'm sorry, not
very often.
Years.
That's a win. It makes sense.
Yes, that you bring up these pieces and that you can share them across the board in a variety of different ways. And I love that you see that, and it goes through as a filter for what you're sharing, because now everything that you're sharing, whatever message you're sharing with someone, is going to be more interesting. It's going to be better received. You're going to be more aware of what their needs are, and if what you're saying is actually filling that need. So any other thoughts that you wanted to share before I wrap up with a couple of last questions?
Well, I thought of one more. This retreat I just did on finding your voice, stepping into your voice. Connie always tells us, she's like, people need what you have. And I think we shy away and we're like, oh, we kind of want to step around it. But I believed Connie because she knows she's been doing it. And I stepped into it and I didn't feel totally comfortable, but I said, if like my black book, it has these very simple prompts. It's the easiest way I found to acknowledge. If you're interested, here's the site. And people were like, oh, wow. Like, I'm so glad you said something, because she knew, like, people want us to offer what we have. Our salt, that's a gift. Like, it is not an apologetic thing. It's part of gathering Israel. It's just the coolest thing we get to be a part of. And at the end, I was telling people I have this goal to speak 40 times this year. If you know anyone, and they're like, really, I would love for you to do this. It was like I was able to serve them better by offering. That's a big mind shift. I just have to say that I learned from the speaker track.
Oh, I love that. And look at the confidence you had, that we're not manipulating people with a message. You're not trying to get someone to do something. We talk about this all the time. You're making a match. You're filling a need. You're finding the need and you're filling it and saying, I think this will serve you. What's your thoughts? Does that resonate? So it's not this forceful, and it's also not this sort of like denture laden, I'm going to sell you from stage and let's 10x and we're going to close half the room. It's not like that at all. It's learning how to be more articulate, distinct, and different in happy ways in sharing your message to be that gateway to gather Israel. So I love that. There are women who are listening right now and they are thinking, I would love to do. I don't think that I'm that kind of person, or I don't know that I have a message that would be so Shazammy, although my heart is kind of pounding like, oh, I think I should be doing this. What advice would you give to a woman who's kind of thinking that? Any thoughts?
You have the salt, your own special, you have what people need. I spent a lot of time in comparison, and I think we all do it.
Oh.
And I realized there's not very many more people that can be as authentic as me, but I don't come off as professional at first. So it's just once we can accept these things and see our gifts, our salt, our uniqueness, it makes it so who wants to listen to the same type of person who's been through the same things? And the other thing I would say is your stories, all the things we've gone through, it's so easy to discount those. And once I say it to somebody, something that might have been insignificant to me, they're like, wow, I can just skip past all that in my life. A simple little story that's not even a big deal to us. Those are what we need to be sharing. Speakers are like storytellers. So if you don't, if you want to be one, they're the same thing.
I love that. And starting where you are and responding to that rumble, whatever that rumble is. I look at the women who have responded to the rumble like you, and it kind of tears me up. Sorry, I'll just stop. But sorry, we just had a really special week this last week. And I feel like this mother hen / sister of like older sister, much older sister for these women, but that come in and I just, it's such a joy to see them learn these skills and then to see them flourish. And just this last week, watched women who had gone through the speaker track and learned speaking skills, and 4 of them were invited to speak at BYU Women's Conference. 4 of them. There's only 70 classes and there's so many people that apply. 4 of them, and they were able to celebrate together. And then in our whole group, our leadership circle, we're all like, oh. And then for NSA, the National Speaking Association, they had this storytelling competition just last night. I can't even remember. It was Wednesday night. I can't a week, just like that. Nice. But just a couple nights ago. And here, a couple of the ladies had gone in there and they rocked it. Right down to their entrance, right down to the way they stood, every piece of it. And I sat there and was so mesmerized by the power, the confidence, the respect, all of it, and being their unique fingerprint self. It was overwhelmingly joyful. I couldn't get over how well they had done. And this is the thing, from where they started to where they were now. We're going to get older. Months are going to pass, as they will. And that rumble will still be there. And they chose to take that next right step and say, I don't know, I'm uncertain, but I am going to take that step and see where it leads me. And I look at where you ladies are now. You're speaking to businesses, you're sharing your Black Book, you're talking to young adults and to women and to business owners and employees, and you're sharing this skill that will help them get rid of those negative emotions and open up to the opportunities that are before them. It's so powerful. And just like you said, each person offering their salt and savoring what we've all got together. Any last thoughts that you want to share?
All of those amazing stories are just because each of those women and we've all just showed up as ourselves. And it's almost selfish because it's so healing to own yourself in that way and share it.
It's so true. And it's funny because at the beginning, when we were all gathering together, I did not realize, I was all so focused on how can I help them get the skills so they can do the things that I'm telling them that they can do and do it the quickest way possible, but the most meaningful way. And I did not realize that the number one thing was the connection with the women, the support that everyone felt, the saying the same lingo, being able to celebrate each other doing this when they were able to move forward in their speaking and having these experiences, that there was this support group of sisterhood of saying, I'm so excited for you, way to go. So huge. Lyndsey, the women listening are going to want to connect with you more because you are stellar and so authentic and so open to helping women moving forward in their speaking journey. That's just who you are. What's the best way for them to reach you?
Thank you. I'd love to connect with anyone. So lyndseyv.com, LYNDSEYV.com or V_ on Instagram and Facebook.
She's so great. Any one last tip or piece of advice or something that you want to share that has been unsaid? She is the queen of helping you say the unsaid. So it's a little play on that. Is there anything that was unsaid today that you feel like still needs to be said?
Ooh, the unsaid. I would say all of the things and the reasons that you think you might, that are holding you back from being X, Y, or Z, speaking, feeling like you're the mom that your kids need, feeling like you can be the entrepreneur you want. Once you look at those things, once you really let yourself go there, they will loosen their grip on you and you will take the power back that they have that keep you small. And I can promise you it won't even be a thing, because that's why our Savior came. That's why we're here. He has worked through all that. There's nothing to hide from, nothing scary there.
Absolutely gorgeous. I wish you were right here. Give you a squeeze. Thank you so much for being here today. We love and adore you. Love you. And for those of you who are listening, if you have any questions, comment below. And if you love these spotlights, we've got them always on a Tuesday. And then this week we had one with Ashley, an artist, that was a couple of days ago, that was so fantastic. If you're thinking about getting some speaking skills or being a speaker, whether for personal or professional. And as always, as we're offering, we have our Speaker in a Day event next Saturday. It is still open. You can still, there's some spots that are available. You can hop in with us 9 to 3 at Unique headquarters in Lehigh. We're going to teach you all the skills, how to write and craft that plug and play keynote, how to do the 5-piece performance, how to do a hook and a bookend, and how to say it with a story. All of these things that you can turn around, use it for a talk in your church, use it for a presentation in business. We're going to teach you all those things, and we're going to give you some opportunities to speak, depending on how much you want to do. It's going to be so fun all together. So check it out, ConnieSickle.com/speaker in a day with little dashes in between, or just go to my website and you'll see it right there. We'd love to have you. So check it out. Lyndsey, thank you so much.
It's going to be so good. Yay.
Love you, ladies. And she is going to be speaking next Saturday. She and Ashley, an artist, are all going to be speaking, and she's going to be talking about hitting those pain points, finding the solutions for it. We're going to go in depth. So can't wait to hear more from her. We love you, ladies, and we hope to see you there.